Welcome to the Let's Talk Wrestling Podcast.
What a humdinger of a show!
Jumpy, beep, beep!
Booty-O's! They make sure you ain't booty!
I got the gift of gab and the gift of jab, and I'll put that lazy eye right back to work.
I'm not a bad guy. I'm not a good guy. I'm the guy.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Let's Talk Wrestling Podcast. The wrestling podcast will review Raw and Smackdown and give all of you beautiful people the wrestling news of the week. That includes TNA, possibly at the end of its road. We'll talk about that in great length this week. Maybe it's in a case that it needs to be deleted, but of course we'll get to that. My name, of course, as the host of the show, who will be having his own branded soft drink available in all stores as of next week. It's extra fizzy, but it is terribly bad for your health. It is the Turbo Tony drink, and I don't advise buying it. It's like poison. Yes. I'm saying that right now, and, hopefully that eases my conscience if any of you die drinking it. That's the way it is. Of course, I don't do this.
That's a warning.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Of course, I don't do this alone. I do have a teammate, a buddy, old pal that's closer to me than Jericho could ever be to Kevin Owens. But he is, unfortunately, a person who would lose in a presidential debate between us two. It's Matt Marsano.
I'll just interrupt you a lot. I'll find a way.
Yeah, and you'll just say wrong loads.
Wrong.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
That's not right.
That's right. But the difference between you and Donald Trump, Matt, is that you actually pay taxes. So
That's true. I'm not smart.
Yeah, clearly you're smart. How are you doing this week, Matt?
I'll be all right. I've had no
Clash of
time for
Champions
anything.
did not sit well.
Clash of Champions did not sit well in the fact I didn't really watch it.
Yeah. Well, we're going to be looking over some of the points of it anyway. I watched it, unfortunately, and I'll give my thoughts on that. And I will actually explain at the end of this podcast that I will not be reviewing Raw next week. So Matt doesn't even know about this, but I have an alternate plan because, Matt, I need a fucking week off from this show. Otherwise, I'm going to lose my mind. But I'll go into that a little bit later on. I have watched this week, and I will review it there. I have a cool idea for what I'll do next week to take its place, and it will take just as much work. So, of course, if you guys would like to interact with us, the main way of doing so is our Facebook page, facebook.com/Let's Talk Wrestling Podcast. You can also send us a tweet. Now, this particular Twitter handle does not only have its own brand of soft drink, it's just really, really jealous, and therefore the actual Twitter handle is the first one that's come up green because it's filled with so much jealousy, and that Twitter handle is
@TalkWrestlePod.
So jealous, Matt. So jealous.
Much jealousy.
Yeah, it makes the Twitter account look a bit ugly, if I'm saying. It's just...
Yeah.
Just the way it is. Of course, if you'd like to send us any private messages or audio questions, you can send them to letstalkwrestlingpodcast@gmail.com. All of that is on the graphics in front of you and in the description below. And what we've got for you this week is a packed show. We have lots of stuff to talk about. We've got lots of news to get through. We've got the fan feedback where you guys were leaving an absolute ton of questions last week. Thank you very much for that. We've got the Clash of Champions review, or more of a very quick review over Clash of Champions. I don't want to be talking too much about it. Our Raw review and our Smackdown review. We've got plenty of stuff to get into here, and especially considering the news, we're going to be talking a lot about some of these news stories for quite a while. So before we get into that, though, Matt, a little bit of procrastination. I alluded to it a little bit earlier on. Raw went up against the presidential debate this week. Clinton and Trump. I'm guessing by some of your statements that you've seen at very least some sound bites from the debate as in general.
I saw a video of someone who turned it into a drinking game every time Trump interrupted.
Wow, that's basically death right there. I
think it was like 91 times or something.
That would be hard to do. I watched it. I watched the entire thing because I'm old and I like politics. Go figure. It's just the way it is. Once you get over the age of 25, suddenly you start getting really into politics. Just don't know why.
I haven't watched it.
You know. Yeah, but you're busy, Matt. You're busy. You know. It's the way it is.
I suppose.
Yeah, and but Matt, the only politics that you like are just watching the world burn. You're just such a degenerate. You are. That's the way it is.
Chaos. I live
exactly. Exactly. That, and I think that anyone that's living in England has had their fair share of politics with the whole Brexit thing. So maybe you want to stay as far away from that as possible. But I thought, like, overall, it was far more entertaining than any wrestling I watched this week. Just putting that straight out there. The debate was awesome. It was great. Over 80 million domestic views, Matt. Woo-hoo! 80 million. That's something. So, you know, one of these days, Matt, we'll get 80 million views. Can you imagine 80 million views for a single podcast?
And more views than Raw itself.
Yeah, exactly. And we're going to talk a little bit about Raw's ratings as we go along. But I'm excited for the next presidential debates. I mean, clearly, whatever your political agenda is against, you have to be intelligent enough to realise that Trump got bitch slapped here. He got annihilated, in my opinion, by Clinton. Just someone that had done their homework, knew their numbers, and knew where to hit Trump right where it hurt, and knew how to deflect any of the blows being thrown her way. It was a masterful display from Clinton, shall we say, and I do expect her to win. You know, it'll come a point, Matt, with this election that it's going to be like, come on, America. It was all fun for a little while, but come on, you know, you're big boys now. Now you have to vote properly when the time comes, and I expect Clinton to win. But it would not be the first time I've been proved wrong with these such things. But that's my guess. What do you reckon, Matt? Who's winning this? Who's winning the election?
I just hope that there's more than enough intelligent people, because you see these videos, and I don't know whether they're completely satirical or whatever, but it's sort of like as Trump rallies, and it's just like, you don't, like, if Trump's told you that the sky was green, you'd agree with him. Yeah. So blindly follow. And it's like, I can give two fucks about politics. And then Trump came along and he blamed it on the Mexicans, and I fucking hate Mexicans. Yeah.
It's this funny thing that it's because, like, he's saying a lot of things that are, like, you know, because he doesn't say the word like policy or, you know, or laws or any of the, you know, these big fancy words, and suddenly it's like, oh, I understand what he's saying and shit like this. I watched the South Park episode that satired it. Fucking brilliant, just amazing, really good stuff.
Is that the whole? I think I think my opponent is sort of smart and intelligent. It's like, don't listen to him, he's a liar. Yeah.
It's Mr. Garrison doing everything he can to not be president, and it's not working. Yeah, that's basically it. The other thing that happened to me this week, I had my leg injection. I warned people that I might be in a cranky ass mood. I might still be. I feel okay at the moment. Matt will tell you I was bitching and moaning throughout the majority of this week, but now I'm getting along a little bit. So hopefully, Matt, as the weeks goes on, I will be somewhat a little bit more pain alleviated, and I'll just be happy-go-lucky Tony. You know, I'll be hippie Tony doing the Raw review. I'll be like, you know what, it wasn't very good, but it was all right, man. It was okay. You know, just love all that shit, you know? Laughing at myself, but, you know.
Until I told you. I think I love the day off, and you were still like, I'm in so much pain. It's like, you should have taken the tablet. You're going to watch Clash of Champions. It's like, yeah. Guess what? And I broke a result, and you were like, I'm done.
Yeah, no. I watched Clash of Champions in the worst possible state of mind, and I don't think it helped the review either. I was just pretty much like, I'm in pain, I'm watching it, it's boring, I don't like it, why am I doing this to myself? Yeah, no, I was going through all that, but still, I tried my best to stay off the Facebook page, not to just put loads of negative shit on there. I want it to be a little bit like, oh, you know. I don't want people to go on our Facebook, Matt, and think, well, these guys just don't even like wrestling. I'm like, well, we do, but we just get annoyed at things. And
yeah, a bit sick of it.
Yeah. All right, then. Any procrastination for yourself, Matt, or shall we get straight into this news?
I was just going to jump straight in.
Right. All right, then. So news. The big news this week that is still pretty much ongoing, and I expect the story to change as the hours roll on. is involving TNA. Now, I want to prefix everything that we say here to say, look, we don't watch TNA. We're not TNA fans. I have been on record on this show as saying that, and I'll quote myself, that TNA should pack up its doors and go away. And the reason why I said that, Matt, was because I was angry of some of the working conditions and the payments not being given to production workers. That really irked me, right? Or if you guys are long enough and you listen to the show long enough, you could probably remember the rant I went on. I was very angry about that because that sort of stuff pisses me off. When you're pissing on the common man and all this sort of shit just doesn't sit well with someone like me. So we're talking about TNA again, and the news coming out this week that they just got no money. That's just basic. That's really there's nothing else to bloviate about it. They just don't have money.
Plain and simple.
Yeah. They've got Bound for Glory this weekend. As far as what we've currently heard, they do have funding from somewhere to be able to make that show and the tapings afterwards for it to go ahead. But this was big news, and it seemed like for a very least a small while that this weekend could have marked the very end of TNA. And you're hearing rumors, Matt, apparently Billy Corgan trying to put his money into the organization. WWE been sniffing around with a smaller offer to buy out the tape library. I want to go into this because I haven't talked about this as much yet, the TNA sale rumors last week, because this sort of stuff was being talked about a little bit last week, but this is when the shit hit the fan. First of all, if Billy Corgan does fund TNA, Matt.
Yeah.
I mean, fair enough if that's what he wants to do. And apparently he wants to basically rebirth the brand, which has already been done. But he wants to get rid of the TNA tag and kind of just try and make everything go new.
It's not TNA anymore, is it? It's Impact.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, the thing is, it's all tarred with the same brush, right? It all stinks. Yeah. That's the issue. The brand itself is toxic. Right, and fans of wrestling just aren't invested. They don't believe in it anymore, and they're paying the price for a lot of Dixie Carter's mistakes.
There's still some very diehards out there for TNA.
Oh yeah, I mean, let's talk about the diehards for a bit, Matt. I've seen some absolutely asinine and stupid comments. The fact is that some of them have been going out and saying, "I don't believe that this is happening." Yet you've got Billy Corgan, who is he's the president now of TNA, coming out on podcasts and saying, "Yeah, I don't know if it's actually if the show's actually going to go ahead.
It's going to carry on, yeah."
Or I heard that WWE's going to buy it out and they're going to pump loads of money into it and it'll get back to its glory days. WWE pumping. Yeah, they ain't pumping any money into TNA. They're taking all the tapes and they're shutting that shit down quick. I've heard that apparently their offer. I mean, initially when these talks of of like a buyout were coming out, they're saying, "Well, the company is around $40 million." I can guarantee you, probably WWE's offer is way less than 10, probably less than 5.
In which case, I could have won like the Euro Millions lottery, and I could have bought TNA.
You could have bought TNA, yeah. Now, winning the lottery is a little bit hard to do, of course, but I believe in you, Matt. I believe in you.
Hey, it was 100 and something million pounds. I could have done it.
I bought a ticket, Matt. I will say.
Unfortunately, it's like one of the few times where it's like, yes, of course, I'm getting in on that shit. And you're like,
yeah,
no. Like everyone else is, and my odds have now been slashed.
Yeah, exactly. Basically, yeah. It's one of those funny things as well. Is that like if one of us had won the lottery, I very much doubt that we would be doing this podcast. We'd just be like you and me would be just somewhere else, just on the other end of the universe, just fucking universe. Yeah, we'd have so much money we could buy a spaceship and just start our excellent adventure across the universe. Yeah. But yeah, I've seen some diehard TNA fans that just can't believe it, and whatever. I'm not here to try and change their minds. I mean, that was just a waste of both of our time. They are what they are. Part of me hopes that Billy Corgan doesn't put his money into it because he seems like a guy who really wants to get into the wrestling business, but this brand is toxic. You can change the name of it, but the fans nowadays, they are intelligent enough to know that this is TNA's offspring and it will just still have the stank on it. You can change the name, you can change the logo, but it's going to have the same wrestlers. and people are going to know that the majority of the management are still going to be there. So it's still going to have a lot of the same issues that happened beforehand because this is TNA. This is the way it is. But here's the thing about it. So what's going to happen to TNA? Apparently they've had funding from an unknown source. It's never good when you get funding from an unknown source, first of all, because that means they haven't got a buyout. They haven't got a person who's bought the company yet. It's basically someone managed to find some random investment from here and there just to get through to the next week. Apparently they're going to be fine going through December, and then we're going to find out what happens from there on out. TNA has had a habit, Matt, over the last, let's say, 3-4 years. I mean, I don't know if I'm the first person to say this, but we've certainly explained it this way. They found a way to survive, but they certainly haven't found a way to thrive. Mm. And they've been stuck in this rut for years, never really going anywhere, bringing guys in left and right, WWE guys, just not having the same impact as, let's say, a Kurt Angle did when he came in, or Sting or Jeff Hardy when he came in.
So basically, main event mafia.
Yeah, essentially, right? They've never reached those sort of heights back again, in terms of ratings or just general momentum going with the company. It's just completely stalled, and it's hard to get a car. The problem is they're spinning their wheels in the mud, and they're still not out of the shit. They're going nowhere. If anything, they're going backwards. The thing is, right, so one thing I wanted to bring this up because this really irked me. So there's me talking about TNA, and I'm starting to feel sorry for them. I'm starting to think, I don't want really the company to go out. I want them to figure their shit out and start, giving some competition. That's ultimately what we want, right? One thing that irks me is that you still got their wrestlers over the course of this week, and, their management do this a lot as well, where it seems to me that their general thought track is that it's everyone that's against us. If the fans didn't have this toxic view on us, then we'd be completely fine. And we're doing the best we can, but outside sources are keeping us down. Right? That seems to be their mindset or their excuse for whatever situation that they're in. And whenever anyone asks them, why do you TNA not do? Oh, it's because, these outside sources, that we can't, things outside of our control, right? This idea to me that it's okay for them to blame their demise on their own customers is completely beyond me. This is entertainment, for Christ's sake. Matt, you don't go into a restaurant, right? You decide, I don't like the food, so I won't come here again. And then the chef comes out and blames you for not liking his food.
Yeah.
Just doesn't work. That just doesn't happen. And if it does, then believe me, that business ain't going to last very long. It's just the way it is. The one person ultimately, I think that mindset, Matt, I think that's ultimately what costs them in the long run. It's this idea of we're doing fine. Our product is fine. Our management is fine. It's all these other people, Matt. It's all these other people getting to TNA. That's the reason why they're in this situation. It's that mindset that's sort of allowed themselves to get so comfortable that they've just bled out money and bled out fan base and whittled them away into basically becoming a joke of a company. Let's be honest now. And that's the situation that they're in. I know it's very harsh. I'm sure TNA fans won't like me saying that, but yeah, you have to look at the cold, hard facts of this. You look at the situation that the company's in. It's not good, right? And I think the person that really appropriated all of that and made all the mistakes is Dixie Carter. She has to shoulder all of this. I don't think there's one other person who can take as much blame for TNA's downfall than Dixie Carter. No. I'm certainly trying to think of someone else I could pass on. Vince Russo? Well, you could argue it was Dixie Carter who hired Vince Russo, so really ultimately it goes to her, right? Over the time that he was booking and everything went to shit, and they lost their, because it came out that Russo was booking for them, that they lost the Spike deal, and then they went somewhere else and blah 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 blah.
Like nobody touched Vince Russo. I'm not. I'm not involved with Vince. Oh, Vince, what are you doing back here? Oh, shit.
Yeah. Or Dixie Carter accidentally sending emails to the head of Destination America, right?
Yeah.
Like, how much of a rookie move is that? Like, that's comedic, Matt. That's funny. That is really funny, right? If you look at that, if I were the president of or the CEO of Destination America, and I got that email, I probably would have laughed, thinking, "What the fuck is this bitch doing? Like, what does she have a clue? She honestly doesn't have a clue." No. And even those mistakes aside, it's the constant promises, Matt, of industry-changing nights, right? That will change the face of wrestling forever. The amount of times we got it became a joke. How many times we got a promise of, we're going to have this is going to be this is going to change wrestling across the board. It's going to shatter the foundations. And all it would be was a tour of India that they eventually wouldn't have enough money to actually go and do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what we're looking at now, because they're like, Dixie has gone out and said, like, oh, watch this space. We've got big things coming. Like, we've got Bound for Glory, and we're going to have big things going on. Just stick around, sort of thing. And it's like, no.
It's her word now is worth absolutely nothing. Absolutely fuck all. And I tell you what is the issue with it here is, I mean, obviously the management of the company has been laughable at times. I'm not even going through the majority of mistakes that they've made, right? It's just laughable. But you look at like the ultimately the people that are going to pay for this are the wrestlers that they have on contracts, which I hope, they shouldn't have to worry about whether or not they're getting paid this weekend, right? From TNA. They shouldn't have to worry about that, right? But they do, unfortunately. And then you've got the backstage workers, of which have got dicked over for the last couple of years with this company, right? Mm-hmm. They're the ones that ultimately pay, right? I mean, I know Dixie Carter is paid big time. In fact, I think her overall tenure with TNA has probably aged her far more than she ever wanted to. But this is what happens when you're not prepared and you don't have the experience of a wrestling company, and you try and, for some reason, think that you can start batting on Vince McMahon's door and start challenging him on Monday nights, which they tried to. It's TNA to me, unfortunately. Once unfortunately, like WCW, will end up boiling down to a catalogue of mistakes. There is a book, The Death of WCW, right? That catalogues all of their mistakes. I've read it. There's going to be one about TNA, and it's probably going to be just as long, which is a shame, because the first half of TNA's existence, Matt, it seemed like, well, we might be onto something here. This could be finally something. But the mistake after mistake after mistake, it just. And then in the end, all those people that started changing the game for them, the Kurt Angles got too old, right? Got too beaten up. Sting decided, well, I want to go WWE finally and give it a crack there, which by his status, he's well inclined to do if he wants to. Them misusing stars like Samoa Joe and AJ Styles, when you look at what they're doing now. They got on this bandwagon in terms of trying to get new and fresh stars into the company far too late. And now it's not going anywhere. It's a shame. It's a shame that the company's in this state. TNA fans, they can hope that Billy Corgan can eventually front the cash, but you're basically fronting cash into what I think is a bleeding bank. You're putting money in the vault, but there's a hole in it, and it's going somewhere, and it won't stay there forever. I don't see this ending well. I don't see Billy Corgan putting money into this, changing the brand, and suddenly everything kicks on. I just don't see it. Maybe I'm a cynic, Matt. Maybe we're TNA haters, right? We've certainly said enough negative stuff about TNA, so I'm not going to blame people for saying that we are. But I'm just looking at this, even when I try and look at this without any sense of I don't think I'm being biased. I think I'm looking at it, but let's just say I'm trying to look at it just black and white for what it is. I can't see a good future for TNA. I just can't see it happening. It's just, I can't formulate how it happens in my mind, you know. What do you think that TNA's got something like going on? Do you think that they can make something of this, or where do you see this going?
Don't know. It's kind of the trouble because there's no real way of knowing. I think it's just going to have to be a case of we'll just wait and see what happens.
Which unfortunately is never a good direction for the company, really. Yeah. Just wait and see what happens. That's basically what they were saying.
Just ride it out.
Yeah. Billy Corgan for the better part of this week has basically just been saying, we'll wait and see what happens. And maybe we'll get money from somewhere. What else can you say? It's unfortunate we have to speak about a wrestling company in this much trouble, but to be honest, it's... you can hardly. I can only have so much sympathy for them. That's probably the right way of saying it, because ultimately you pay for your mistakes, and they are. It's just long-term mistakes. The fans remember. Your brand becomes toxic, and no one wants to do any business with you. And that's just the way it is. So we'll see how this goes along. I'm sure by next week, this whole picture will be. It looks like they have got their shit in gear, at very least for now. But how long that lasts, and if eventually it is Vinnie McMahon handing them just a little bit of cash for their tapes at the end of all this, wouldn't be the first time a company's died in that manner. So that's the way it is. All right, let's talk about Raw's ratings then. So Raw, talking about Raw, they didn't do so well this week either, as we expected, Matt. Raw was going up against Monday Night Football and the presidential debate, so... I was genuinely worried about the ratings for Raw this week. Have you seen the ratings in general, or?
I haven't, no.
Well, they didn't do as badly as what I thought, because I thought there was a good chance that maybe with the debate that it might go an average of under 2 million viewers, which, Matt, as you know, that would be monumentally
painful.
That's historically bad. That's how bad it is for WWE. They didn't do that, but they didn't do as bad as that. They averaged below 2.5 million viewers, which is still bad, but it's not as bad as less than 2 million. Completely dwarfed, Matt, as you said earlier on, by the ratings from the debate, which were over 80 million. That's... Vince McMahon can only have the wettest of dreams at a number like that. That's 80 million eyes on your product. That just... He would love to have 4. Right, Vince McMahon would love to have 4 on a weekly basis.
88 would be good.
Oh yeah. Oh man, he would sell his children for 8 million viewers a week. He would absolutely do that. Sorry, Steph. Sorry, Shane, but that has to happen. 8 million viewers. That's a big deal. Now he would do it for 4. 4 would be very good for Raw nowadays. Which, when you look at back in the heydays of Raw and Raw going up against WCW, when they were both putting off like 6 million a night, 7 million a night. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. But it's Raw's going to have trouble in the next couple of weeks just because the football season started up anyway. You started to see a big hit in the ratings just in general anyway. And you can see in the ratings here, in the first hour, it was just under 3 million. And then once the debate started, they lost like 500,000. And they just didn't really... They weren't getting them back once, Clinton and Trump had started. That was just the way it is. So, it doesn't help that I think, Matt, that the last couple of Raws and the pay-per-view, I think, were just quite boring. There wasn't any there wasn't any reason for the general fan to go out of their way and watch Raw. And nor have they been... nor has the show. The show just talking momentum with TNA. Raw at the moment doesn't have any momentum. It just seems to be
struggling
along. Yeah, it's the way it is. I'm going to keep an eye on these ratings because it's very interesting when Raw genuinely... Because the thing that Raw has on its side, and WWE in general, is that they're a weekly episodic show. And they're going against other Monday night shows.
One-offs.
Yeah, that are, as you say, Matt, this football season will end sometime and WWE start clawing some viewers back. even though I've heard from some of the American wrestling podcasters that they're the kind of shows that Raw's getting beaten out of, but nowadays on Monday nights is a bit embarrassing, shall we say? But still, it'd be interesting to see how this pans out. But the fact is, all this talk of WWE, and we've said it before about them being, well, the ratings don't matter as much anymore. Trust me, if the ratings were good, they would be putting fucking tons of infographics saying about how great they are. It's Raw being very selective. They've always done this, and it's just the way it is. Jamie Noble this week, Matt. You brought this to my attention. Unfortunately, the way that you did give it to my attention, I thought that Jamie Noble was dead. I have to admit, I thought he died this week. Which is because especially you told me, oh yeah, he got stabbed. I'm like, what? What the fuck?
Well, I wasn't wrong.
You weren't wrong, but I thought, oh, he got stabbed and killed.
You misinterpreted, yeah.
Yeah, he's gonna be okay. I mean, as okay as someone getting stabbed can be. I'm sure it wasn't a pleasant experience for Mr. Noble getting, knife piercing his flesh, but that's the way it is. How poetic from me there, Matt. That's the way it is. It wasn't Bray Wyatt doing it, but here, watch this knife piercing your flesh, Jamie. Lucha Underground Bray Wyatt, stabbing people. But no, that's not what's happening here. All jokes aside, Matt, I hope the violent degenerates get carted off into a van, thrown into a cell, and get butt fucked for 20 years.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah?
It would be the least they deserve.
I hope that they get caught, they get thrown into jail, and the first time they get into a shower, the biggest guy in there, and he's sweaty, and he's hairy, he just fucking bends them over. Oh, yeah, and they won't like it.
You're real purdy, and just stroke his face.
That's it. And he makes the other two guys watch, because apparently he got mobbed by three guys, essentially.
I thought it was two.
Apparently it was one person and two other people got out of the car. I don't know. To be honest, it was the reports are a little bit here and there sort of thing.
Mixed.
So, yeah. I hope he recovers soon, because I mean, one thing that is current over all these reports is that Noble, apparently there was some sort of traffic conflict between them, but Noble was quite happy. Yeah, Noble was quite happy to say, oh, I'm sorry, I don't want any trouble. Look, if you've done any damage, blah, blah, blah. This guy was like, nope, stab.
Fuck you.
Yeah. But there you go. It's the way it is. I hope he recovers soon. And thankfully he's dead, because I thought he was dead. I thought, it's 2016, Matt. It's going to happen, right? This is a shit year with people unfortunately passing away. And Jamie Noble was unfortunately the next one. But yeah. But no, there we are. So Jamie Noble, while you're in hospital, and if you listen to this and you're feeling and you're clutching your side, thinking those arseholes, just imagine him getting that big sweaty guy, man. Oh, and he loves violating their pretty mouths. That's exactly what he loves to do. Exactly. He's going to do the Royal Rumble in those showers, and then he won't be throwing them over the top rope. He'll just be pushing them over and doing his thing. The cockmeat sandwich, Matt. There you go. We
haven't seen that film in years.
We'll have to watch it. It's good. It's good stuff. Which Harold and Kuma's Guantanamo Bay, isn't it?
Yeah, the second one.
Yeah, good shit. I just want to watch both of them now.
It's been.
I should have done that, Matt, when I was really bad in my leg, because that that's a movie that will just give you a random smile on occasion, even if you're in a bad mood. So still. Another little bit of news here. I don't know if you heard about this, Matt. Hugo Knox in NXT. He's gone from NXT. Now you might not care so much because
that guy was.
Yeah, right. So he
wasn't he the Brit? Wasn't he the Brit meathead?
Yeah, okay. Yeah. He was I think he was the former goalkeeper, right? That joined them. He actually made an appearance on Soccer AM during his WWE tenure. I think like a couple of years ago when he first signed with them. He's a hench guy, but maybe he just never improved in the ring, sort of thing. Here, he made a couple of NXT live show appearances, but you never saw him on TV. The actual, yeah. So it never seemed to be going. And when you've been there for a good couple of years, and you haven't made your debut yet, and you've got the likes of WWE, who seem to have a shift in their recruitment recently. You know, they're not putting you out on TV. That's just spells the end for you, really, isn't it? So, interesting talking about that, though, Matt, is that it's interesting to see the company nowadays, because they tend to look to more ready talent from the indies rather than creating them in-house now.
Yeah.
You're looking at all the Cruiserweight Classic guys that they just signed. You know, that's a lot of guys. None of them are from their own, their own training.
Yeah, they've all like, while some of them were like NXT guys, they were all like indie vets.
Yeah. It wasn't as if like Tyler Breeze, I know he wrestled outside of WWE, but he spent more time training in WWE than outside of it. So you can call him a performance center graduate. You haven't seen a guy like that really start really plying their trade, and getting somewhere. You just don't see it. WWE, they might have figured out that maybe it is indeed, after all this time, because it was years, Matt, that they decided we can't sign indie guys because we're going to have to teach them, we're going to have to get the indie out of them. And it's easier to train a new guy into what we need than get the indie out of a good wrestler.
Yeah.
Which,
actually, one thing I really enjoyed?
Stupid.
I was like listening to like an old podcast with Jericho and Balor. Like it was the second one. That they've had, and he was just sort of like, I feel like I'm the most over-trained wrestler, because he's like, I learned the indie way, and then I learned the Japanese way, and now I've had to learn the WWE way. It's like, that's not true.
Yeah. One thing I think that they finally realized, though, after all this time, Matt, is that if you get a good indie wrestler, it doesn't take that long to tell them, okay, we want you to do this and this and this instead of this and this and this. In about a month, they probably got that shit down.
Yeah.
That's the way it is. These good wrestlers are good wrestlers. That's just, so it's much easier to go and hire a good wrestler who's eager to still make a stamp, like a TJ Perkins, right?
Yep.
Or at the time of Finn Balor. I know, at the time, Kevin Steen, Kevin Owens, when they started bringing these guys in, that they're hungry, but they're still good and they got miles on them. It's much easier just to say, okay, this is what we need you to do instead, rather than spending 5 years trying to create the next John Cena, and they're realizing with Roman Reigns that just doesn't seem to work.
Yeah.
All the issues they've had with Roman Reigns. So maybe they finally they figured it out. Maybe they finally understood that it just wasn't working with the Performance Center in terms of trying to get these guys across, or maybe they just don't have time to give these guys anymore. Like they gave Bayley, Sasha, Charlotte time to get good. It doesn't seem like any of those women at NXT have got time anymore.
Yeah.
They need instant success again, which is one of the byproducts of NXT becoming as successful as it did. They still got to sell tickets, Matt. They still got to do live shows that draw in crowds. That's the way it is. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that pans out in the future. But Hugo Knox is gone. I don't expect him to come back personally. I didn't see much of the guy. You may have seen him a little bit on the Breaking Ground specials. That they did. He would be one of the guys that would be like, oh well, look how it's meant to be done, and he would do like a role. That's the kind of thing.
I don't think I actually remember seeing him in it at all.
It's one of those things that he probably wouldn't have even said anything, Matt. It's just that he's there in the ring at sometimes with the other guys being one of the, that's the way it goes. But I don't expect.
Meanwhile, they're doing a drill, and there's just like 5-6 people. Yeah, probably.
I don't expect him to go and play his trade as a wrestler in other places. I expect the guy to. I don't think he had much love for pro wrestling going in. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but it just seemed to me that he was one of these guys that were in WWE because it was WWE, but his love of wrestling goes only as far as that, So,
yeah,
that's the way it is. Fan feedback then, unless you've got any other news to get into.
No.
I'll tell you what, we'll take a small break while I pour out my Pepsi. Unfortunately, I didn't have Pepsi for the first half of this day, and I'm so addicted to Pepsi, I start getting headaches. And they started
happening.
Yeah, I should have put in my procrastination, because a lot of people in the comments have been asking about my Final Fantasy escapades, Matt, I told Matt this just before I came on. I now have every single card in Final Fantasy VIII. And as soon as I got the little Steam achievement for getting it, I had instant regret for spending so much time doing it. But there we go. Matt, I'll always have that over you.
Shame.
And I know it means nothing, but I'm going to act as if it does for my own benefit. So there you go, Matt. You've never got all the cards in Final Fantasy. I have. Okay.
Okay.
Matt, I spent 2 hours today playing a card game with the same NPC, waiting for the one card I needed to win. Every time I was failing, I needed to reboot the game. I'm not happy. I'm not happy how I spent my Saturday, shall we say? You know?
I don't think you should be.
No, I'm not happy at all. I'm not happy at all. And I've got loads of games, Matt, sitting on my Steam that I could play. No. Decided, no, I'm definitely going to do this. I've started it. I think that's what it was, Matt. Halfway through, I'm like, I've already spent quite a few hours getting this all set up. I may as well go through with it. But yeah. Still, there we go.
Commit.
All right. Yeah, that's it. The way I looked at it is that I've already done half the work. It would be a waste now, you know. Whereas I should have realised, really, the time that I spent getting all these other fucking cards in a game that I'll never play again was more of a waste of my time, really. But still, anyway, I've done it. There you go. But there we go. Anyway, fan feedback then. So anyone that was wondering what my Final Fantasy escapades, I was going back from 9 to 7 for the PS1. Final Fantasy's 100%ing them. I did 9. I'm just about to do 8. I'm not doing 7. Fuck 7. I'm not doing it. I know 7's a great game. I'm not 100% in that shit. No way. I've learnt my lesson. Maybe far too late, but I've learnt my lesson. Anyway, fan feedback. Kane St. Dennis asks, at this moment, who do we think WWE will have win the 2017 Royal Rumble, and who do we want to win it? I've heard news, Matt, that Finn Balor will be back by the time Rumble rolls around.
Apparently.
Which will be good. And I think if he is, I think he's got a shout. I think he's got a good shout.
That would be probably the best way to have him not re-debut, but sort of return from injury would be ideal. Yes.
You know, that would be a big return. And they've done the big return winning the Royal Rumble. Not for a while, but they have done it. They did it with John Cena, you know, made a shock return at the Royal Rumble. Yeah. He won it.
Edge, yeah, I was just about to say.
Yeah. So it's
I don't think it's been many.
Hasn't been many, but it hasn't had one for a while. So maybe it might be one of those things that, you know, well, who's number 30? And then suddenly you've got the fucking whole.
Done.
Yeah, you got it. He comes out all painted up and he wins the Rumble, goes on maybe to claim the championship he never lost at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
There's another person, I know people won't like it, but you can't ever discount Roman Reigns winning the Royal Rumble. I know they might say, well, do you not think that WWE would learn their lesson from Roman Reigns going into the WrestleMania main event? It's WWE. They couldn't foresee Roman Reigns getting booed at WrestleMania 32. Do you really think they're going to foresee it this time, even though it happened already? It's WWE. No. I don't see this foray into the mid-card, Matt, with Reigns lasting like through WrestleMania. I think he'll be done and he'll be back onto the main title by then.
I think to be fair, I think it's a bit too soon to call.
Yeah, maybe. I personally don't think. I mean, maybe it's because I don't watch the show. I don't think it will be anyone from SmackDown.
Boo.
Well, can you name anyone off the top of your head? Because Balor and Reigns jumped out to me straight away. They should have Jericho win it, and therefore, like, they could do the we don't want to wrestle each other, but I want the championship.
Yeah, that would imply that Owens is still holding the title come January.
I guess you don't think he will then, but okay.
Well, it's possible, but like that would have him holding it all the way through to April.
Is a long time away, isn't it? Really? Yeah. But SmackDown, Matt. Anyone that you think for SmackDown? Could be John Cena, could it really? Not again.
No, I don't really think so.
If they want to build up
Cena,
to that,
possibly. I mean, this is it. I think it's just sort of like, I think it depends how everyone's stories are carrying on from here. Like, I think if Styles was to lose the belt before then, he's got a damn fine chance of winning the Rumble.
Yeah.
So it's a bit. It's kind of hard to say.
Well, the way I look at it with Cena is that they clearly want his championship win to be a big deal. I mean, that's him tying the record, right? Yeah. So maybe he wins the Royal Rumble and then goes on from there, and they build that up as a big storyline.
I don't want him to tie the record.
No, but WWE clearly do, and it's going to happen. I'm just waiting for it. It will happen. Yeah. But it's one of those things.
Trouble is, they're playing up like No Mercy could be it.
Well, him winning, it won't be No Mercy. They want that to be a much. Maybe he does and loses it, and then the big thing is him breaking the record, right? And that's what he goes for next. I don't know. It depends on how much they really want to go far with this whole record thing. So yeah, there's a couple of picks there. The thing is about the Royal Rumble is that the Royal Rumble, unfortunately, has had a very poxy couple of years. The last 4 years, they've mucked it up way more than they've done it justice.
Definitely, especially considering the past couple of years have just been completely shat on. Like Reigns last year, Batista the year previous.
Yeah.
Poor Ray.
Yeah. It doesn't seem to the thing I would know. See, last year it wasn't as bad because you had Triple H winning the championship, but you had Reigns before then, as you say, Matt, who won, and people that was oh my god, that was just so shat on. And then you had Batista. Yeah, so last year they did okay because people just wanted to see Roman Reigns dicked over and Triple H won the championship. But more often than not in recent history, they haven't booked it well. All I'm waiting for, Matt, is that this to be the Royal Rumble that Daniel Bryan does return, and they're like, okay, we're going to sign off. He's coming back, and then he gets eliminated straight as soon as he gets into the ring, and suddenly it's like, oh no, they did it again. They messed up the Royal Rumble again. But no, they wouldn't be stupid enough to do that, would they? Would they?
Possibly.
Oh god. Anyway, moving on. Cameron Hutton says that he's done with Raw after Clash of Champions. He's going to be fine listening to my gradual decline into insanity as I review the show, even though I'm not doing it next week. He asks if we think Foley is the worst general manager of Raw. No. Go look at Micah Damley. Then come back to us.
I was going to say, I can't comment.
Yeah, Micah Damley, man. You remember Micah Damley?
No.
Remember him?
No.
You don't remember him? Oh, well, you might remember him as being one of the guys that's in the intro of Botchamania, right? Or was it Jeff Harvey?
Oh, yeah.
Jeff Hardy. He was... Just go and search YouTube, Micah Damley, worst moments. The thing with him is that he wouldn't have bad segments or he wouldn't have bad speeches. They were just awkward. The guy clearly, for some reason, he just wasn't... He wasn't. Imagine having a male Eva Marie doing, being the GM of Raw.
Yeah.
That's basically, in terms of the speaking and how awkward things come across. It's, oh god, Mike Damley without question. In fact, he got so bad that WWE started to make him a caricature of himself. Started making it on purpose. But by then, the joke had gotten old because people were already like, well, we've been making fun of him for the last couple of weeks. You're kind of late on this, WWE. And then he got canned. But yeah, Micah Damley will have that title. Let's talk a little bit about Foley. Matt, you haven't watched Raw, so you don't know Foley, what Foley's going on. But have you seen...
It's like, you don't know Foley. I know Foley.
You've seen plenty of his matches, stretching the years. But... you haven't seen him at the moment, but I'm guessing you might have seen the general consensus among wrestling fans that they're not too happy with Foley.
True.
Now, there was another question here from Adamos Marcos, who's very unhappy with Mick Foley as GM. I'm going to merge these two questions. So, Adamos Marcos says, are we starting to find him annoying? Having him he's on screen too much. He doesn't seem genuine anymore. He's coming across a little bit like a supply teacher that nobody listens to and would be like Jericho instead as Raw GM. So let's talk about Foley as GM of Raw. No, it's not working. I'll just say right out there now, I'm not going to disagree with you guys. It's not working. For some reason, I think that having Foley on TV and on screen as much as it does is starting to shed light on some of the holes in his speaking. He's never been a complete package as a speaker. He'll be the first person to tell you that. But basically, these are the two different Mick Foleys that you're going to get at the moment. You're going to have a guy who will try and get his point across, and then will have to shout about it and just get very emotional. And, well, this is because and then that's the only thing he can do, right, is to get his point across, and you just shout it out, which is why it comes across as it's not genuine, because he's doing it every 5 minutes. Or he's out there basically just reciting lines. That's just the way it comes across, where he's got like an essay per episode to memorize, and it's clearly not something that he feels comfortable with. I mean, Foley as well, like I can't defend Foley as much nowadays. After SummerSlam, when Foley came out and did that long speech about the fans pissing on the Balor Rollins match for chanting about the belt, if you remember that. He came out, and I said, look, I can understand where he's coming from, because he's annoyed in place of the talent. But when he's coming out this week and he's firing off about the fans about the reaction to the end of the Best of 7 series, which was bullshit, I said back then at the SummerSlam stuff, I'm like, I understand what he's saying, and I'll give him this pass, but you can't do that. You can't keep going to your fans and saying, well, you don't know anything, you're wrong, or, I'm very upset you've done it. These are your fan base. This is your customers. So he has to stop doing that. Unfortunately, he keeps doing it. One of the things I will say, right, is I think that WWE don't quite know how to book a face authority figure, and they've got caught out a little bit. But the thing is, they've got William Regal, who is a great face authority figure down in NXT.
Yep.
And the thing about William Regal, Matt, is that you very rarely see him, but when you do, you know that one, a really cool match for the next event is about to get announced, or two, the shit's about to hit the fan, right? Like a big storyline is about to go down, or a wrestler has crossed the line enough that William Regal has to get involved, like Samoa Joe is doing now, right? That's the only times that you'll see William Regal, right? And that's fine. You don't need to see him every other segment. There's no point in it. But Mick Foley is basically a storyline device to try and get to try and get Steph's story over. That's the only reason he's there. Raw has 3 hours to fill, and it automatically oversaturates every person on the roster as well. So you've got that issue as well. So I think it's a mix between Foley, just not, you need a really, really, really good talker to fill that role. And Foley's big selling point was he was a good talker, but a lot with him was about like his character and how he portrayed that in the ring, and then and doing some very fucking stupid but death-defying and albeit entertaining bumps, right? And taking the violence up a notch. So, yeah, I don't think that Jericho would help, Matt. I think that if you put Jericho in that position, I think Jericho's a better speaker. I will say that. But it's WWE's insistence on using that role as a story device. Everything revolves around that GM, right? Everything on that roster, the GM has to be in backstage segments. The GM has to meet people when they come out of matches. They have to do promos in the ring. They have to sort out people having arguments. If someone interferes, that GM has to be there. So unfortunately, there's just too much Foley. He's got his grubby mitts everywhere. But that's how they book authority figures. If you remember when the Authority were in charge and they had Seth Rollins being champion, we were moaning at the fact that the Authority had way too many segments. It's just a problem they have where they put the spotlight way too much on authority figures, thinking that's going to heighten the drama. The problem is, as we're going to talk about with Clash of Champions, is that when you do that, and the main story of the show ends up being Mick Foley, what's going on with Foley, or what's going on with Steph and Triple H and blah, 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 blah. The main event of Clash of Champions was Seth Rollins versus Kevin Owens. The problem was Seth Rollins spent the entire month rivaling with either Stephanie or Mick Foley. He did way more talking against Mick Foley and Stephanie than he ever did Kevin Owens. Not really. So it ended up becoming like, well, it didn't seem like a match that people were enthused about, because clearly they hadn't built up the match well enough. So, yeah, I think that Foley as a GM, this experiment is slowly failing. I think it's because the show's too long, and they really rely on that story role. That character, whoever's in that position, far too much to get the show chugging along, and it just doesn't get anywhere. And that's just the bottom line of it. There is a lot of problems at the moment. What's it like with Daniel Bryan, Matt? Because I haven't heard anyone say anything bad about having Daniel Bryan as the GM. Is he out there all the time, or what's going on with that?
Not all the time. I can never go around and say he's always around. But he kind of is always around as well, but it's not been bad.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. And I guess the only storyline going on with him is the little bit going on with The Miz and stuff like that, I guess.
Yeah.
But it seems like every storyline has Foley involved in it somehow. The Best of 7 series had 3 times Foley speaking to them this week. Then you've got the Seth Rollins thing where you've got Foley involving himself in that. It's like he's involved in every storyline on the show.
Yeah.
Which... yeah, of course, it's just going to be far too much, just the way it is. So there we are. So yeah, I don't think Jericho would help. Jericho at the moment he's being allowed to get a little bit of wiggle room so he can get his comedic personality across, but he wouldn't be allowed that if he was in that GM role. He has to go out there and say exactly what the writers tell him to because they've got a story to tell. It's not a very good one, but they have to tell it. They have to tell it. So. That's the bottom line of it there. But yeah, I think it's becoming a problem, unfortunately. And it's WWE's insistence on this authority role. Whereas Vince McMahon can't realize that, part of him being the authority role was so good is because Vince McMahon was great in that role. He really was. Mm-hmm. And he had a great rival in Stone Cold Steve Austin. You look at Stephanie McMahon, I'll talk about it a little bit this week. There's no one there to step up to Stephanie McMahon. There's no one. No one does it. She hasn't had anyone step up to her for about 3 years. And when Brie Bella did it, she lost.
Yeah.
So, there you go. Well, I'll talk about that a little bit more because there was the thing that happened in the Raw review that merits a bit of talk where Mick Foley had his balls cut off. But we'll go into that. Thomas Oliver says, it's time we should tap into some Lucha Underground. And what are our thoughts on Cody Rhodes' contract that allows him to work for TNA and ROH? Do we think there should be more contracts like this? Well, it's business. It's just a case of, TNA wants Cody enough that they're willing to overlook him wanting to work for other companies. That's all that is. I very much doubt TNA wanted him to be going out and wrestling on other televised shows, but... they need Cody far more than Cody needs them.
Yeah.
I know that Cody still wants to go and wrestle in tons of other places. So, but you do see a lot of people working for other companies, but it's because they have working relationships. ROH has a very healthy working relationship with New Japan. So you can see a lot of New Japan guys on the ROH show. Have you watched any Ring of Honor recently, Matt?
No.
No, apparently there's a new way of watching it. Apparently it's very easy to get around to. I might have to look into that more and actually catch a show one of these weeks. Because I know that ROH unfortunately doesn't seem to have much going for it either, but it certainly is not in the problems that TNA is having. So there is that. But yeah, that's all that is with Cody getting that contract. It's because TNA need him. They need people like him, and they will acquiesce a little bit more nowadays to guys like him if they think that it's going to make some sort of difference. But yeah, the funny thing about this, Matt, is that due to the independent contractor status, technically, WWE telling their talent that they can't wrestle on other shows is actually quite dodgy.
How so?
Legally, as an independent contractor, WWE can't tie these people down to an exclusivity deal. Now, I think that, in terms of the law, and I could be completely wrong here, this is me talking out my arsehole, I think they can stop them from wrestling on televised shows. Maybe. I'm not entirely sure. But they can't stop them from wrestling at just shows in general. For instance, John Cena, if he wanted to, could go wrestle for Progress tomorrow because he's an independent contractor. Right? That's the way it works. But TNA have managed to use a grey zone to essentially get around that issue so far.
Yeah.
So that's the issue there with that. But that's not going to change for a while because, as we said before, there will not be a wrestlers union because too many people at the top of it that would actually make a difference make too much money being an independent contractor because they've got the rub of the green. And John Cena and Randy Orton ain't making a wrestlers union. They definitely ain't. They're not going to put their names next to that, and risk their careers and their money. Just not doing it. So it will never happen. That's the way it is. MC Schwabo says that CM Punk did indeed write for Marvel. He wrote Drax the Destroyer, and apparently it was pretty good.
There we go.
I think they got the wrestling connection there of him wrestling, him writing for a character that was played on the big screen by a pro wrestler. I'm excited for Guardians 2, Matt. That should be some good shit right there.
Oh, yeah. I'm up for that.
That might be one of those movies that I might have to fly over and watch it with you, might have to.
Well, considering you're the reason, because originally I was like, I don't know about Guardians, and then you'd be like, I will pay to see it again. Like,
yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. And as soon as you hear that, you knew it's in for a good time, because you're hooked on a feeling. I'm dancing in my seat. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, there you go. So the way it is. I'm sure he could even go back to doing the comics while doing MMA training on the side. He'll have enough outside projects. He'll be fine. There's no issue there. Adamos also asked if we feel embarrassed watching WWE sometimes. There's one time that on this show, I wonder if you can remember what it was, Matt, when I said I would be genuinely embarrassed to show my family what I watch. And it was over a certain batch of segments on Raw. And I said it on the show. I don't know if you can remember it. Most of our fans probably can.
Current Raw.
Obviously, since we've been podcasting.
The Bunny seems like a good example.
Yeah, you're damn right. It's the Bunny and Adam Rose. I would tilt my screen whenever that shit was going on to make sure that no one would even look at what I was watching because I didn't want to try and explain why I was watching it. Have you ever had that, Matt, where you've been watching wrestling and you've had like a family member come in and you're like, yeah, I'm not really watching this or something like this or this bit or, oh, that's weird. You just kind of like, you feel almost a little bit, like
shame.
Yeah, a little bit of shame. Have you ever had that?
No, I can't say I have.
No?
To be fair, no.
Wait, do you watch Go on, sorry.
No, you go.
I say, do you watch your weekly wrestling in like your front room or do you do it up in your room? Because I know you were watching it in your front room, so,
I mix it up.
You mix it up.
Sometimes I watch it at work.
Because you make the most of your time.
To be fair, that's one time where I'm like, no.
Oh dear. I tell you what, though, in terms of embarrassment, there was a couple of times in my teenage years when you've got the bras and panties matches, and you're watching them, and then your mum walks down with the wash, and you're like, it's just wrestling. It's
your son having a healthy interest in the female anatomy. God damn it! Now get away, mum.
Exactly. It's me admiring the female form, shall we say? But yeah, that would be nowadays I only feel embarrassed because it's because I can't recommend the show. I guess that's what reason I get embarrassed nowadays. It's when my wife comes up to me and she says, "Oh, is there anything worth watching on Raw this week?" And I have to tell her, "Not really," and or
this week there's not.
Yeah. And that's when I get embarrassed. Sometimes I get embarrassed for WWE, I guess. But the Bunny and Adam Rose was the most recent one where I was like, I can't let anyone see that I'm watching this shit. I can't do it. I can't explain it. And it's one of those things that if someone had come up to me and said, "Oh, wrestling's fucking crap. Why do you watch that shit?" And they had the Bunny and Adam Rose like as an example, there's not really much I can say to that shit. I really can't. I'd be like, yeah.
You know what? You're right.
Yeah, exactly. So not all of it is bad, but that stuff you're showing me right now, yeah, that is pretty shit right there. That is pretty bad, but there we are. Cam Brock asks, what brand has the stronger tag division? In his opinion, it's SmackDown. And if SmackDown needs another championship/division to combat the cruiserweights, maybe bring back the television or hardcore title. Matt, well, this is your question for you then. So
SmackDown wins.
SmackDown wins, yeah.
Yes, SmackDown has the best.
Yeah.
And I won't even accept you to argue. It's just accepted as fact. It is what it is.
You won't get any argument at me. I'm firmly behind you. It's one of those things, but I think since the brand split, they've only focused on two teams, and that's a New Day and Gallows and Anderson. And the Gallows and Anderson are ruined. Ruined.
Yes, definitely.
So that's Raw's tag division. And the only time I've watched the SmackDown show, Matt, I thought the tag stuff was pretty good. So I was all on board.
Because it was good.
Yeah. It looks healthy. In fact, a lot of the divisions that I initially said, Matt, they're going to have trouble with that, or they're going to have trouble. It actually seems to be doing all right.
Yeah.
And Raw, funny enough, seems to be the ones with the problems. It's weird. What about titles, though? Do you think SmackDown needs another title?
I don't know. It's 2 hours is plenty for the 4 belts already. If you consider that's 4 belts is a bit much.
Yeah, well, I already thought 4 was too much, yeah.
Yeah, over the 3-hour show, possibly, but not over 2 hours. I think we've got too many belts.
Yeah. The way I looked at it now, if you look at it, it's like Raw's got the extra title because of the extra hour. That's one of the main reasons. But you look at it now, that means you've got 9 championships now on the roster currently, right? You've got 5 on Raw and 4 on SmackDown.
Mm-hmm.
That means that at any given time, you have 11 people on your overall roster that can be called a champion. There's 12 now because New Day consists of 3 people. You have 12 champions. The whole point of champion is that it's supposed to be exclusive. It's supposed to be a big deal.
Yeah. Doesn't feel like a big deal, does it?
It doesn't. Yeah, that's part of the issue. I know it's because people may say, well, you said that if the brand split happens and you might have to have different championships. Yes, I did, but it's one of those things now that I just think it's not a problem now because you're seeing a lot of these people hold the titles and everything's kind of going okay, kind of, right? It's going to be a problem later down the line when they've got to manage all of these titles, right? And they've got to manage all of this hardware. And it just, eventually some of them are going to become so irrelevant. That's just the way it will end up. So no, SmackDown shouldn't have another championship. In fact, I would be in favor of whittling down the overall amount of championships in general anyway.
Yeah.
But there we are. But the most important thing to take out of that question, Matt, is that the Gallows and Anderson are ruined.
Yep.
Ruined.
You're not going to get any argument from me.
No. Billy McGee says that we've never been to a WrestleMania. Would we go to one if it were in the UK?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much we'd be there in a heartbeat. I would take my entire family to a WrestleMania if it was in the UK. Mm-hmm. I'd buy tickets for them all because it'd be one of those things, Matt, that I wouldn't know it would ever happen again in my lifetime. So I'd buy tickets as soon as that shit came out. I'd probably buy a good 20 tickets when it came out, and it'd be like, okay, that's 4 for my immediate family, that's 2 for Matt and his other half, or maybe some more for his family that might want to go, and then there's some other friends, and make sure we can all go in one big clump. If there was a WrestleMania in the UK, Matt, you and me would be shelving over our money pretty fucking quick, wouldn't we?
That's
really?
it.
It's the way it is. MC Schwabo is actually right when he says that I was talking about trying to get to Orlando for next year. That's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. My wife has family in Boston, and I'm trying to time a visit there at the same time that there's going to be a pay-per-view or a big event in Boston. So it'll work out. I can go to that as well in America.
Fair.
But when that happens, no clue. No clue when it happens. To the point that I've lived in this country now for the better part of 7-8 years, Matt, now. And I've since I've been with my wife, she's only gone over to America once and I've never gone. So that's a long time. and it needs to happen. So he also asks, who do we think should be in the main event that isn't on each brand? Sami Zayn, maybe. Yeah. I think that because of his performances on Raw, it's a bit of a slap that he's just got nothing going for him at the moment. What about SmackDown, Matt? Anyone that's should be in the main event but isn't for some reason?
Not really. I think everyone's in the right place. I know they're going on with this whole stuff with Ziggler again, but no.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah, it's that ship is sailed for Ziggler anyway, isn't it? Really, but
yeah,
SmackDown's a lot lighter on those singles males championship.
That's very true.
Contenders.
In fact, for No Mercy, it's title versus career for Ziggler.
And that might be his last match. I don't know if his contract is actually up. I know it will be up soon. He has been talking about going. Would be interesting, wouldn't it? But still. All right, that's all our questions for this week. If you like, we've got plenty from you guys this week. If you'd like to leave any, then you can do so in the comment section below, or all the social media midges that we put earlier on. I don't know how much time. I don't know when we started, Matt, but I think we're well over time. We're going to have to get through these reviews pretty fucking quickly, I think. But we'll try and get there. If not, I will heavily reduce my Raw review. We should have about 40 minutes, I'd say, Matt. 40 minutes sound about right?
Yeah, sounds right.
I think it sounds about right. So we'll get through Clash of Champions, some of the more bigger talking points of that here. So when did you tap out of Clash of Champions? You fell asleep, didn't you?
I forgot. I think I tapped out at Sheamus Cesaro.
Sheamus Cesaro, yeah. Right.
And I can't remember whether I tapped out like. I think I pretty much tapped out like at the beginning.
At the beginning. Well, I don't blame you. To be honest, you missing the majority of the show is probably better because my overall review of it is that it's a skip it show. So I watched it all. I mean, I was bedridden for three days, so there wasn't much else for me to do. So I got my wrestling watched. I will give some of my talking points about this. Charlotte retained her title in what was a good match, but it was met with it's just predictable finish. The Raw Women's division at the moment is in a bit of trouble because there just doesn't seem to be any momentum going for it. And I actually blame the SummerSlam finish for that. In fact, I actually blame the fact that Sasha Banks has lost 3 pay-per-view title matches to Charlotte this year.
That's true.
Your next face of the division should not be losing that many championship opportunities.
No.
That's just the way it is. But that's what I think. I think they stifled their momentum by not having Sasha win the title at WrestleMania, and since then it's not nothing has happened in this division of serious note. Since then, we waited for Sasha to eventually win it, and when she did, it didn't last very long. That's just the way it is. And I don't put that on Charlotte, by the way. Charlotte is the heel that the division needs. They just haven't got a face at the moment that's clicked properly, wherever it be for injury or for them losing or being booked wrong or whatever. Yeah, they just don't have a face at the moment that can match up to how good of a heel Charlotte is. Just the unfortunate part of it.
Trouble is, they didn't have one. They have
2.
It could be good enough.
But at the moment, they're not.
I know.
It's just not. It's not working for them at the moment. I know they're good enough in the ring. Of course they are. We know that. But Sasha is going to end up having a list of times that she should have won this or should have won that this year, and it's just been a mistake after mistake. But still, Reigns won the United States Championship, which was against my prediction here. I didn't think he would win. I actually thought that the match itself was all right. I thought the ending was pretty good, with Lana getting ejected and then Reigns hitting the spear. The fans were into it, so fair play to them. I wasn't particularly enamored with the match, but okay. Reigns, like I said, he is the champion. I don't know where they're going to go with him, and I don't expect it to go on for ages. Like I don't expect this to be him doing the Cena of holding that mid-tier belt and trying to make it the best it could be.
Yeah.
But they could prove me wrong. Maybe they really are trying to make him pay after that drug problem that he had, but which is still laughable considering the fact that Brock Lesnar apparently can get away with all that shit, but still. Sheamus and Cesaro. This was the big talking point after all the show. A lot of people were talking about this match, more so than any of the other matches, and with some note here. So, the best of 7 series, Matt. I've been moaning about it for the majority of this month. The best of 7 series.
I mean, that could be why I couldn't give 2 fucks.
Yeah. WWE gave us it was at 3-3, and this was supposed to be a deciding match for the ever vague future championship opportunity, which was eventually revealed on Raw. Almost like it was planned this way. Anyway, but still.
Ooh, funny that.
Yeah. These guys put on a great match. I will say that the match up to the last minute, phenomenal. The best match they've had in the entire series. By a good mile, in my opinion. Very, very good. Very intense. You've got these guys kicking out of the bro kick, which very rarely happens. Kicking out of the neutralizer, again, very rarely happens. Beating the shit out of each other, physical match. They went an extra mile beyond all the other matches that they've had. So it was a fun match, Matt. It was a fun match that the fans were really like, okay, you know what? If we've had to wait all this time to get this sort of match and for this to eventually end, we'll be okay with that. That's all right with us. We'll forget the fact that they've basically just done nothing for the last month and we'll just do this here. That's fine. And then WWE decided to book a finish of which I still can't understand. I know what direction they were going for. They clearly had a plan. I don't know why they thought of going this way with it. And I have an alternate way of booking it, which I'll go into with Raw. But what they chose to do and how they chose to do it is just dumb. It's just stupid. Before we get into that, actually, a little bit into that, Cesaro had a suicide dive during this match. Did you see the suicide dive where he landed on his head?
I saw the footage of it, yes.
Yeah, he proper scorpioned himself. It was ugly. I think actually Sasha did that the same earlier on in the night as well, which looked awful as well. It's one of those things here that it's a risky move, and I know that Solid Monster as well came out and said he hates it and he wants it to stop. When you've got someone
did for spiking himself on it, isn't he?
Yeah, his is even more dangerous because he's less in control. When you've got someone like Kofi or the Usos doing it, because of their higher level of athleticism, I'm not saying that Cesaro isn't athletic, of course he is, but Kofi and those guys, I mean, they made their trade by doing that sort of stuff week in, week out. So when they're doing that, it always looks like they're in control of when they're doing those sort of dives. Guys like Cesaro, they can do it, and 9 times out of 10 they'll do it fine. But the difference between them is that 1 time out of 10 they might fuck it up. And this was one of those problems that it could have cost him his career. It could have broken his neck. So a bit awkward on that front. The issue here was with the finish. I'll get back to that. So both men are beating each other up on the outside. They're giving it. They're fighting. It's physical. And then they kind of clothesline themselves onto the outside. So they're now on the outside of the barricade. And instead of them continuing the match, the referee decides that both of them had enough and just calls it a draw. Which is boggling because both men were able to stand. Both men weren't knocked out. Both men, like a couple of minutes after the bell was rung, were up on their feet trying to get back at each other. So it came across a little bit like, well, why did that finish? That makes no sense. It was dumb. The only way that you can do this finish, Matt, is if you have both these guys do a big spot. Let's say both of them are fighting on the apron. They both bounce off. They both go through a table. They have to bring 2 stretchers out. The match has to end because both of them can't fucking stand.
Just wreck themselves.
Yeah. Like these guys aren't going to be able to get out for the next half an hour. We're not waiting for that. We've got a show to go. So this match has to stop here. I'm not going to allow these guys to kill each other, right? But the way they did it was, okay, it ends, and then both of them just looking at each other a little bit like, oh, well, I'm still ready to fight. And I'm like, yeah. It was a stupid move. I don't know why they... And like, on Raw, you eventually find out their master plan. But I was showing my way of doing it. I thought it was dumb. But I'll go into the way I would have booked it on my Raw review. And Owens beat Rollins to retain the championship in a match that unfortunately never seemed to get going. And I blame it on the fact, as I said earlier on, that the rivalry seems to be between...
Didn't Rollins get like a standing ovation after it?
Yeah, I don't think it was aired though. It was on. It was done after the show ended.
Okay.
So, but basically, like I said, I'll blame it on what I blamed it on earlier on. Is the fact that Rollins is more in a rivalry with the authority figures than he is with Owens, and that was the issue here. And they tried, and it was a good match. It was a good wrestling match as people went into it. And I think that was the perfect example of the show. Jericho came out, caused a distraction. Owens retains the championship anyway. But the show had some good wrestling, a couple of very bad finishes, but just no momentum. It just meandered along at a snail's pace. It just happened. The best way I can explain it was like this. It was like the entire show was stuck in first gear, and you were going past some pretty vistas, but you still feel like you're going nowhere. You know, you don't ever feel any sense of overbearing excitement. It's just a missable show. I know it's a lot later by now. This is a week after Clash of Champions is aired. If you're still waiting on our review on it, on whether or not to watch it, then don't. There's no point. You know, unless you're a big Roman Reigns fan and you want to see him win that title, but most wrestling fans aren't, evidently. So,
I have nothing to contribute.
Yeah. That's the bottom line of it here. Now, I've been talking a lot about Clash of Champions, Matt. I'll let you do SmackDown first this week because I feel like we need to change up a little bit and not me do two reviews back to back. So go on, let's do SmackDown first this week.
Okay, so I'm going to start off. I don't think I hated SmackDown as much as you did Raw.
Which has been a common theme since the brand split, by the way.
Yeah. I quite like how I was just like, I was originally like, oh, I guess SmackDown. But now I'm like, yay, I got SmackDown. Orton opens the show addressing Bray Wyatt, and then Wyatt does this whole little find me, and then throughout the course of the night, there's like a mouse in a maze sort of thing. Which
he's doing a little like a scavenger hunt for him. Oh, that's nice.
Essentially, yeah. He sort of like set him up a little game. It's like, come on, let's go, let's play, Randy, let's play. Come find me. Yeah. And it's all just like through like tunnels, not tunnels, but like through the doors. Just like, oh, is it this way or is it that way? Like one door has I'm a god, the other one says predator or prey. Which door do you choose? Oh.
And Bob Barker jumps out of one of them. Randy Orton, which one do you choose? Just sounds like a cheesy game. Yeah, go on.
I'll get onto it later on because there's a little thing I had to add. Oh, pardon me. Followed by a backstage segment. Dean Ambrose, meh, I'm getting my belt. Cool. Match. Event opens up because it's SmackDown. Tag team match. But it's an 8-man tag match. Rhino and Slater and American Alpha versus Usos and the Ascension. Mm-hmm. The Usos have new music. They have a new gimmick. They have a new look. It's kind of... Their music's quite... like you can hear the whole I'm Gonna Stop sort of thing. But it's like much slower. Unfortunately, they're coming out kind of like I've forgotten their names. They used to come out on the bikes.
On the bikes?
Like the push bikes, like the low rider.
Yeah. Sin Cara was in before.
Hunico,
yeah.
And other Mexican.
And other co or whatever, I don't know.
Yeah. They kind of look a bit like that.
Oh, really?
Okay. I don't know. Yeah, almost like just like street gangsters.
I kind of like what they were like at Backlash, like that with the gear.
I like that, yeah. And then they just seem to have just changed it. I don't hate it, but it's pretty good. Gable is obviously sort of like looking for a bit of redemption. Unfortunately, he's still not ready yet, and they still work Gable's leg. Manages to fight him off, get the tags. Slater comes in, the big ovation for Slater. Lots of Rhino and EC dub chants because I think the one person who's actually, I know Slater's over, and Slater's very over. I sometimes get the impression that Rhino's more over. Because they'll come out, and then you'll hear all these chants for Rhino. I think it's because he does all the work.
Yeah, that might be. I think they are helpful to each other. Like they both bring something to it.
But this is interesting. So, I believe it's going to be Usos versus Slater and Rhino at No Mercy, which is a week today as this releases.
Oh, really? Jesus, yeah.
All right. We discussed this last week. Every other week is going to be pay-per-view, it seems.
It's going to take a while to acclimate it to it, though, and it's getting a little bit overbearing.
Slater tapped out to the Usos.
Oh.
In a single leg Boston Crab. I mean, they targeted the leg of it, but...
Yeah.
The match was a bit... Let me cut to a promo, but the Ascension don't really do much. Alpha and Slater and Rhino are still over, so typical stuff, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Usos and the Ascension win by submission. Cena's doing his whole "I'm going to be the 16-time champ," blah blah blah. Yeah, Orton's wandering around backstage, and there's like Eric Rowan with his like sheep mask just hiding.
As you do.
Yeah, like we get a Wyatt video package after that, just sort of like, oh, watch where you go, Randy. Like you might find something out, sort of thing.
Yeah,
it's all a bit weird. Women's match: Natalya and Carmella versus Naomi and Nikki. Rematch from week previous. It's okay. Natalya has quite a mean Michinoku driver.
Oh, does she?
Especially when she delivers it to the outside.
Ooh.
Yeah. That was on to Naomi. Naomi's obviously, as a result, kind of out the back. But she kicks out at 2 and gets a lukewarm tag from Nikki. I wouldn't call it a hot tag. It was a bit meh.
Yeah. She's getting worked over a lot by Carmella, though, since she came back, isn't she? Like, Carmella's got a lot of licks in on her.
And guess what? Carmella rolls Nikki up and gets the 3 count.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. So I really don't know where they're going with this. Like, they did this whole video package. Like, you know, here's what they had to say, and it's like the generic background.
Yeah.
And it's just sort of like Carmella and Natalya. There's like, oh, we're royalty because, you know, it's the Queen of Black Hearts and the Princess of Staten Island.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh, we're still coming for Nikki, and then you get Naomi and Nikki Bella, which is the most generic, bland, falsely delivered. Oh, yeah, we're here. Like, the glow is like to self-express, and it's like, oh yeah, and we're like fearless. And it's
just
like,
basically them just like piling over their catchphrase and sort of shit. Yeah,
basically. But yeah, Carmella defeats them because she gets the pin on Nikki. So I don't know where they're going with that, and I'm actually starting to lose interest.
What, in all the women in general, or
no, just in these 4?
Just in these 4, yeah.
Yeah, I'm still quite hot for Becky and Bliss.
Yeah,
that's going to be good. I failed to mention. So they're in Cleveland, and The Miz has a homecoming celebration. As much as previously, where he's just shat on them and sort of like, I'm not from Cleveland anymore. Fuck you all. But he's out, and he gets a very good reaction. Like JBL crones on about how like LeBron James and Steph Curry are waiting for tickets because they don't deserve to be there, sort of thing. Miz airs a vignette from Tough Enough and everything like that. And the crowd's like really into it, and then the Miz starts taking digs at LeBron James and the Cavaliers. You know, typical heel.
Yeah, you knew it was coming. Yeah,
yeah. His parents are in the audience, and he's like, "Yeah, look, my parents, like the only two people in this crowd that I really care about, who are worthy of my time," sort of thing. And then he goes, "Oh, and Dolph Ziggler's parents." And that's like poking fun at them, sort of like having a son who's a nobody, sort of thing. Cue Ziggler. Miz rips into him, and it's like we got a very similar promo to what we had between Ambrose and Ziggler. Now it's Miz and Ziggler, where it's sort of like proper digging and sort of like you're just an absolute failure, and Ziggler's like proper coming returns on a emotionally sort of charged promo. The Miz is like, you're probably going to come out, you're going to be like asking for like one more chance, and you know what? No, you've had enough. You can't get another one. Like, what have you got to lose? Like, I've got everything, and you've got nothing, and anything, and all things like that. And Ziggler's like, you're right. The only thing I have is this ring, and you know, whether I come out for the 3 minutes or 3 minutes for 300 days or whatever, like, and people keep asking why I put myself through this, why I keep doing this. And he's sort of like, and it's like a real emotional promo. I recommend you actually try and track it down, because it's another one of those moments where it's like you're capable of good promos. Just channel it. But yes, it is a career versus title match at No Mercy. So I don't know how that's gonna go. Apparently, Ziggler's listed as one of the people who are going to be leaving for a bit, because apparently Cena and Ambrose are leaving to do like films.
You got to think, with those going and like Ziggler going, who else are they going to have like to contend for those two titles that they've got? Jeez,
I know,
that's
right?
going to be.
But I guess we'll wait and see. Becky Lynch comes out. She comes out for her entrance, and Bliss just blindsides her. Just repeatedly attacks her, how she doesn't deserve, sort of yelling at her, she doesn't deserve to be champion and things like that. But that's good. See, this is part of the reason why I'm looking forward to their match at No Mercy.
Yeah.
Because, like, the contract signing was good, like, this bit's good, just trying to maintain a little bit of heat. And it took 2 minutes. Like, it didn't take long at all, and it's still just like, yes, keeps it going.
Yeah, that's it.
More Kurt Hawkins bullshit.
He still hasn't won you over yet, though.
He still hasn't made a fucking debut. It's just doing live action facts. But he's going to have a big announcement next week. Did you know that 70% of the Earth's surface is water, and the other 30% is Kurt Hawkins?
Oh, God.
Which makes me think he should really be a big fat guy.
Yeah, you'll have to lose a bit of weight
of the world. Like, doctors recommend you get 8 hours of Kurt Hawkins a night. It's like, the fuck?
All I can imagine now is just like, it's going to become a thing where, like, you know, every single night you go up to your bed and it's going to be Kurt Hawkins there. You don't go to sleep, you just look at him.
Yeah.
For 8 hours.
Just staring. Just gets a bit weird. What we get? Another Wyatt segment where, like, Wyatt's doing a whole sort of like, where have you gone, Randy? Like, you can't seem to follow a maze, and he's sort of like just goading him. And just from behind Wyatt appears a man in a sheep's mask. Slight problem with this. I instantly noticed a continuity error. So, for the entire night, Orton has been wearing a black sleeveless vest sort of thing and a red tap-out t-shirt underneath.
Okay. While he's been going around playing these games sort of thing, yeah?
In this little moment where Orton finds Wyatt, no tap-out top.
Oh.
And I'm like, okay, that's a continuity error right there. But he just attacks Wyatt a bit, and Wyatt runs off. Orton sort of sits in Wyatt's chair and puts the sheep mask on and starts singing how Orton has the whole world in his hands.
I like that.
We cut off to Styles. He's being interviewed and he's like, whatever's going to happen, like, you know, it's simple. He's going to retain the championship. And we go into the main event of Ambrose versus Styles. And it's a good, 20-minute match. There's a lot of back and forth, a lot of, submission holds, finishing holds, and things like that. And it gets quite interesting, but there's a moment, it's no match that we've never seen before, though. There's nothing much. If anything, the fact that Cena's on commentary, a lot of it's about him.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
But he goes. AJ gets knocked outside, and he sort of turns around. He punches Cena, gets into the ring. Ambrose hits the Supersider, when he runs into the ropes and rolls him up for the pin. At that point, Cena's jumping up on the apron, sort of just going, "Oh, what the fuck," because AJ's just hit me. And AJ doesn't, obviously the ref doesn't know. So Ambrose has got AJ in the pinning situation. The referee goes, "Oh shit, what's going on?" and kicks out at 2.
Yeah.
At that point, Ambrose goes outside, punches Cena, because Cena got involved and caused him to obviously miss the count. And then AJ rolls him up in the Seada and proper grabs a fistful of tights and pretty much folds Ambrose clean in half. Whilst AJ's going for the pin, he's pretty much sat on the mat.
Yeah.
He's got that thing in deep. But yeah. Styles retains. Cena gets into the ring because he's like, "The fuck are you doing, Ambrose? Why you punch me in the face?" And Ambrose is like, "No." Goes for dirty deeds. Eats an AA. Then Styles sort of turns around and goes, maybe I can sneak in here. Kicks Cena for the Styles Clash, and he eats an AA. Yeah. Cena closes out the show holding the championship. And that's that.
He hasn't done that for a while, has he? He really hasn't.
No, and he did the whole sort of champ is here thing. Yeah. It was all right. To be fair, though, I don't think this show had anything to give.
It doesn't sound like there's anything standout happened on it. It just sounds like it was kind of going its way.
I mean, you could miss this episode, but I wouldn't go and say. Yeah. I wouldn't go as far as to say if you don't watch it, if you watched it, you wouldn't. If you watched it, you'll enjoy it, but you won't have gained anything.
Yeah, I get you. It's not a must-watch, but also it's not so bad that you'd be like, oh, it's a waste of time sort of thing. Yeah.
So I would give it a skippable, because it doesn't provide anything, but it wasn't a bad show.
Yeah. I get you. You can have those sort of skippable shows, but yeah, I get what you mean. It's still all right. I get you. However, on my side, on Raw, I've had a hard time watching recently Raw. A lot of skip hits on it. It's another one. I'm just going to say it straight out, right? It's one of those shows that unfortunately you could tell that they knew exactly when the presidential debate was going to start. And they tried to cram everything that they wanted their fans to remember for next week in the first hour, and basically just gave up. I know. Basically here. So what it starts off with is a Reigns and Rusev US title rematch. Not content to learn their mistake of opening the show of Reigns last week, they do it again this week. But with his full smugness on his entrance, Matt, he is smug with his entrance. He's a happy guy with that US title. Rusev gets the jobber entrance, so you know exactly how this match is going to end as well. Basically, what they're doing here is that they're blowing off this rematch straight off and getting it out of the way so they can move on to whatever else that they've got on. But I will say they're doing a rematch of one of the main events of the night before. It's always going to be a hard sell. you know.
Yeah.
Like, I think the problem with this match, though, Matt, is that people might argue, people might say to me, Tony, you've always said before that you want the show to start off with matches, and that's because you may be saying here, Matt, oh, there's no promo to start off the show. It was a match. Yeah, it was, and I'm happy about that. But the problem is, I want like a cruiserweight match to start off the show to get people pumped in, right? Get people, yes, all right.
Actually, just quickly, now that you mentioned the cruiserweights, did they check for Clash of Champions? Did they like re-rope the ring?
Yeah, I think they did. Yeah,
I don't get it.
No, I don't.
I get there now, like the cruiserweights, and that's a purple thing, but like, I don't think a purple ropes and the purple Titantron for the entire duration of the match. Well, I think it was pointless.
Well, I've said it before that I think that what they're doing here is that they're trying to fuse. It comes across as a little bit of like a clash of styles here, because they're trying to get that CWC feel on, like in the middle of a show that really is completely philosophically away from what that is.
Yeah.
You know, like in the cruiserweight matches, they're still having people like shake each other's hands and stuff like this. And,
that match was pretty good.
After the match, they're having, having the people raise their hands and everything like this. Yeah. And it's the thing is, though, is that when they have that happen and it doesn't happen in the other matches, it just comes off as a little bit. I can imagine it comes off a bit strange. Like I can imagine some of the people in the crowd were looking at it like, that's a bit odd. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
that was quite a good match.
But that's how.
Champions.
Yeah, like it's one of the things about the having the cruiserweights is that you can have them start off the show and it's like a very high intensity match. The thing is with Reigns and Rusev, they're going out there, and for the first half of this match, it's rest holds, right? So you're basically already starting off the show like that. It's just not going to go so well, No. It's like you want to start off in fifth gear, but it's not an option because they've got to fill out 3 hours worth of this shit. So they basically just slow it down. It's like a 20-minute long match as well. And I thought, okay. So I said this before. I was like, all right, so let's start off the show. Let's get this rematch out of the way and done. But that wasn't what their plan was at all, because at the end of this match, they decided, what we do after a 20-minute match with these guys, going full at it, we're just going to have it so they get in a fight on the outside and both of them get counted out.
Oh.
So this isn't the end of it.
They've committed to 20 minutes and then they just dick the finish, basically.
Yeah. I'm like, you can't blame the fans then for being like, I listen, whenever this happens and stuff, all I can think of is just the Linkin Park song in the end.
Yeah.
In the end, it doesn't even matter. And I just felt, I felt like that. Reigns hits the spear after Rusev attacks him with the chair. There was a really awkward moment here where like the fans wanted Reigns to attack Rusev. You can probably hear my puppy in the background. She didn't like it either, damn it. Yeah, she had to watch it as well. So there you go. But it's one of those things that like, so he's got this chair and all the fans are actually really on Reigns. They're like, cheering for him to attack Rusev with the chair. But the first thing he does first is that he just sits down on the chair. The fans boo him for it. And eventually he gets up and he attacks him. But I would have called it, if I were Reigns, I would have called an audible and just thought, the crowd are ready for me to do this. I'm just doing it right now.
Yeah. Just go for it.
Because he only hits him once with the chair. And I'm like, he should have really gone to town on this guy. He's the big dog, right? Teach that Bulgarian that messing with the big dog brings big pain. That's the way it is. But that's the problem with Reigns. He's not really a badass.
Well, especially considering that's like a prime example of, hang on, we could, like, that's the sort of shit that he needs to react to that could turn the situation of, nobody likes me. Well, if you fucking clocked him with a chair a couple of times.
Yeah. They did cheer when he did it, but it would have been a lot better if they've done it when they were ready, when the fans were ready for it.
Yeah.
He's got to take those opportunities when they come, because they're not going to be many of them. But that's the way it went there. But that's the thing. That's the problem with Reigns. He never comes across like he's a guy who's really going to make people pay for their mistakes. He comes across as cookie cutter.
Yeah,
and that's one of his main issues here. So that was the opening match of the show. 20 minutes. Like I said, a lot of that was rest holds. I wasn't a big fan of the match in general. It was okay, but the finish and the general slow pace of the match, it didn't sit well with me. Then They show the WWE 2K17 advert, which I will say is pretty awesome. You know, the down. I think Heyman's firm does all the TV spots and all that stuff for the games. Yeah. It always comes off as really cool. Every single game that they do always has like a really cool advert for it. So fair play on that. It's good stuff. Mick Foley comes out to address the Best of 7 series with Sheamus and Cesaro. Some fans called what was going to happen, that the future championship opportunity match will now be a tag team championship opportunity. That doesn't sit with you very much. No. So the thing is, like, initially when I heard about this, I'm like, okay, fair enough. Like Cesaro, we know he can thrive in makeshift tag teams. You know, his work with Tyson Kidd turned out to be really good, really, really good.
Yeah, or even him with Swagger.
Yeah, right. He can work with the team and he can change up some stuff, and we know we can get it to work. But what they're going with it, this, Matt, is that because they haven't technically won the series over each other, they're still reluctant teammates. They're still trying to get one over on each other, which is very just, you expect it to go. It's very predictable, right? Yeah. And we've seen it happen a lot.
Like, it's really bad, especially considering, like, oh, we don't think we're in a situation where we can have, like, we've got people in a tag division, but
yeah,
I don't think we can. My mind's just gone completely blank. It's like we have a tag division, but we have to make up a makeshift one to challenge for the belts. It's like, you have a division. You have other people. Like, you've dicked over, like, the club, with, like, in Gallows and Anderson, and it's like, and now we just got to make up a brand new one. Yeah. It's like, the fuck?
That's the issue that they've got here. It's I don't mind them going into tag division because WWE have botched it so far, and like if these guys aren't going to go for titles, I know they're not. But here's the way I would have done it, because the way that they've made this team, I think, is just so predictable, and it's so like it just seems to be just going along, and people just aren't really that excited about it. The way I would have done this, I would have done this a bit differently. Instead of forcing them to tag with each other and go along with the reluctant teammates angle, have one of the guys actually win the match of the pay-per-view. It doesn't matter who. Just have one of them win, and they get their championship opportunity. But when they do so, Stephanie, we know she's a little bit crooked, but maybe you have Cesaro win it, right? Because Cesaro is the face. Cesaro goes to Stephanie and it's like, okay, I won. Where's my championship opportunity? And she's like, well, actually, I promised Rusev the first crack at the US title, and I don't think you're ready to go against my champion, Kevin Owens, right?
Yeah.
So I'm giving you a tag team opportunity. So basically, he gets shafted. That's how he gets his tag team opportunity, right? Yeah. And Cesaro's like, well, fuck, that's real bollocks. So he's got to now find someone.
Yeah. All right, who's my partner, sort of thing.
Yeah. But like basically, he says you can go pick who your partner is. He decides. He's basically going around, everyone's doing shit. And when it comes down to it, you kind of bring the narrative around that even though they don't like each other, Cesaro and Sheamus have beaten the respect into each other. Yeah. They know, out of anyone in recent history of who they fought, that both of them can go. And both of them can really put some hurt in, and they can both win matches because they've both been against each other. So Cesaro goes to Sheamus and says, do you want to be my partner?
I know, yeah, like no hard feelings, but
yeah. It's we have recent history with each other. I know you can go. I know you can hurt. Fucking, I'm still hurting from the fight. Do you want to see how far we can take this? And this would be Sheamus kind of going face in a way, but you have Sheamus go, well, fuck it. What else am I going to do? Yeah, I'll do it. We'll see how far we can go. That's the way I would have done it. And that way you have like these two guys who have respect for each other, and they have built-in history at that point because they've been wrestling each other so much. I just thought that would have been a little bit more interesting than them going the reluctant teammate route. I thought it would have been a little bit more, then you've got a proper team that people could be like, okay, we can get behind these guys. And if they're going to make a genuine title challenge, considering how much they've been beating the crap out of each other, no one knows Sheamus and Cesaro more than Sheamus and Cesaro at the moment. They could work as a team. So that's the way I would have gone with it. But unfortunately, they're going this way with it, which is a bit of a shame. So Mick Foley says you're going to face whoever is the winner of Gallows and Anderson versus New Day because, again, the second match of the show is another rematch from the pay-per-view. Yeah. Again, another good match, but one I've seen already, and in this case, just far too much. I've seen these guys wrestle each other just too much. Yeah. Kofi busts himself open at one point in this, but I don't know what happened.
That. Apparently, it was a pre-post.
Yeah, I mean, he hit a gusher. Let's just say that he was all like at the end of this match. I mean, when he wins it eventually with the Trouble in Paradise, and he's just sitting there, just kind of laughing about winning. He's just like he's caked in it. It's really bad to the point that you've got. As soon as the match was over, you had Xavier Woods diving in with a towel just to wipe him off and all that crap. But whatever he split open, it was bad. You know, he was going all over the place. But Gallows and Anderson are dead. So there's that. Yeah. There you go. I'll add that on top of them being ruined. They're dead. There's nothing for them to do now. There's no point in them being in the title contention. Yeah. And Matt, you sent me a link for you to watch earlier on of a match between Nakamura and Anderson. In a singles match, of which Anderson was more than holding his own, and they had a long, good, grueling match.
Did you watch it?
Majority of it, not all of it, but
I still haven't seen it.
and then you look at what they're doing now, and it's a fucking crime. There's no other way to go about it. They're ruined. They did not get the same rub of the green that AJ Styles did, shall we say? They did not get the same love from management that their brother did. They are ruined. They came in. They were supposed to be this legit ass kickers. They became a comedy sideshow. And when they decided, you know what, we are actually going to be the ass kickers again, they lost. There you go.
It's a joke.
It's a joke. Yeah, it's fucking annoying. It really is. But that's just the way it is. It's all panned out in the end. So our own Sheamus are bitching backstage, so Foley goes to one of his usual things that we talked about earlier on, which is shouting at them emotionally and losing his rag. And because he's doing it all the time, it loses all meaning. But there we are. Bailey versus random sequin girl. This went for as long as you can imagine random sequin girl can wrestle for, which is not very long.
Yeah.
She cuts a promo afterwards, very cookie cutter. I'll win the title. And that's basically it. Even though she's not wrestling for the championship, but there you are.
Hey.
So Foley speaks to Stephanie backstage. This is the nut-cutting segment, as it will be called. And he talks so quietly at this point, I had to put up my speakers because I couldn't hear what he was saying. But basically, you know, he's annoyed that Stephanie got picked up by Triple H after the pay-per-view. And I'm like, yes, it's very weird for this woman to see her husband. Very weird indeed. In fact, that fact makes the entire storyline idiotic. The fact that Foley has naturally thought that over the last month since Owens has won the championship, that Stephanie McMahon hasn't seen her husband in all that time. So yeah, what has Triple H done for the last month? I don't know. According to Foley, nobody knows. Not even his loved ones know where he's gone. Maybe he went to Vegas. Went to a strip club. I don't know what he did, but yeah, there you are. Stephanie then cuts his nuts off because it was only a matter of time. She basically goes, how dare you ever say this about me? And remember your place, I'm in charge, and I'll list out all the mistakes you've done, blah, 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 blah. He apologizes, again, so quietly that I couldn't actually hear him. And here's the problem with Stephanie doing this, and I've said it before. I'll go through the list. Triple H, Vince McMahon, Eric Bischoff, I'm sure there's other people that have been in control of Raw. They've all had times as an authority figure where people wouldn't take their shit and then eventually step up to him. But that's never happened with Stephanie McMahon. Nobody's done that. It's like when they get in their presence, they forget they had any sense of a backbone. You know? It's ridiculous. It really is. I get that she's this evil authority figure, but there's no point being that evil authority figure if, one, you've got no face that could benefit off of that heat, and there hasn't been. There's never been one. I've said it before, and I feel like an idiot saying it again, but this whole Steph thing annoys me when they destroy so many characters for a benefit, but there's no result. There's no end game with it, you know?
Yeah.
But there we are. Anyway, so Foley loses his nuts, and there we are. Rich Swann and Cedric Alexander versus Drew Gulak and Lindsay Dorado. Still no sight of Akira Tozawa and Jack Gallagher this week, who are the guys I was mostly wanting to see coming out of the CWC. But I saw
finished up a Progress show.
Yeah, I saw that this week. So, I imagine both of them are probably wrapping up some other commitments before they come in. I have to admit, Matt, that I barely remembered who Drew Gulak actually was. So
the French guy?
There is that. Don't think so, no.
Which one was Drew?
I don't know. Maybe. Don't know.
Was he the big...
He got eliminated very early.
Or was he the hench German?
No.
I forget.
That is a guy who will actually be in Ireland in the next couple of weeks for the Halloween show that's going on over here. I can't remember his name or something, but I remember seeing it. Or it's like Eichner or something like that. His name is, I don't know. Yeah. So anyway, this was a good match. Swann wins with one hell of a kick. He basically kicked the fuck out of Drew Gulak. It was enough that it got a hell of a response from the crowd. It was he connected, shall we say, and then he won with a bridge pin. I'm not sold on Swann. I know he's a good wrestler, but that whole thing of him coming out and doing his little dance, that's falling pretty flat whenever he comes out. Cedric Alexander, on the other hand, he comes across as a guy who could be a big star for them going forward. I'm really, really, really impressed with Cedric Alexander. Who you might remember we sung his praises one week for having that amazing match against Kota. He is very good, but there we are. Sheamus and Cesaro versus Random Guy 1 and Random Guy 2. You can know how this goes. The reluctant team, try and outdo each other until they win the match. And yeah, there you are. Although there was a point here that even Cesaro, as he was getting his arm worked over by both these guys, he just looking like, really, should I just let them carry on because they're not really doing anything? They're not really hurting me. And eventually just kind of just pushes them over sort of thing. So, yeah. TJ Perkins is speaking backstage. Brian Kendrick shows up and asks him how good it is for his dream to come true because it's not going to last very much longer. And he says that the Cruiserweight title was brought back for him and it belongs to him. And Kendrick, at the moment, is the only heel in the entire Cruiserweight division, and he could be one of the best ones on it. So that's completely fine with me. I didn't talk about their match at Clash of Champions, but yeah, it was pretty good. So Charlotte comes out in a black get-up that is so lavish that I don't even think her father would have ever been seen in it. But actually, no, it's Ric Flair. Of course he would. Yeah. We've all seen some of his coats throughout the years, and let's just say he's not exactly subtle, shall we say, Ric Flair. That subtle is not a word associated with Ric Flair, shall we say, but there we are. She says that she's the face of the division, and of course someone objects to that, being Sasha Banks, who, as I said earlier on, has now lost 3 pay-per-view title matches against Charlotte this year, so the sheen is definitely worn off. She wants her one-on-one rematch for the women's title. Charlotte teases it, but then says, you know what, I'll do it next week instead. And she gets lots of heel heat, actually. Charlotte is doing fantastic as the heel of this division. She really is the one at the moment that I can't blame. She's doing her role. It's just there isn't a face at the moment up that people want to see, that aren't getting really behind her. And not as much as they were at the beginning with Sasha Banks. So Sasha attacks the champ, Dana Brooke, and they eject them both from the ring. Let's go through what happened there next. Rollins arrived. Mick is just doing his usual thing. You notice here how much Mick Foley is in this show. That's what we were saying earlier on, that he's like a fucking virus. You can't get rid of him, unfortunately. And when you don't want him to come out, it seems like he comes out again, sort of thing. So that's the issue that goes on here. The show at the moment, at this point, though, Matt, you can probably imagine is dying a little bit. So here we are. TJ Perkins versus Tony Nese. Now, I did like Tony Nese from the CWC. I thought he was pretty good, and I saw him wrestle at NXT as well. Perkins has got this video game-inspired entrance. Have you seen this?
Yeah, he came out with it at Clash of Champions.
I didn't know if that happened before the Sheamus and Cesaro match. But I think it's awesome. Yeah. I think it's badass. It comes up with like
Max H.
Yeah.
Like that, yeah.
Even right at the very beginning, it goes to a character select screen, and it selects him, and then obviously he comes out. It's just awesome. I thought that's really unique. That's really gonna, and he's got a lot of really good publicity for that, and so he should. And that a lot of people said, I preferred his old theme and everything. This theme is much more memorable than his old theme in the CWC. You know, people are going to be talking a lot more about this than they were his old theme. So, perfect. You know, it's the way to go about it. One thing I will say for all the new guys that debuted on Raw, so Drew Gulak and Tony Nese, they got videos, very small videos, but videos nonetheless, trying to explain who they are and why you should care a little bit about who they are. And Tony Nese is good. He's very good. I'm glad he got picked up because he got eliminated, I think, in only like the second round of the CWC. But he always he always had a good showing, and he's got that. Even Corey Graves said it in this match. He's got that Neville build where he can do all the high flying stuff, but he looks stacked, right? He looks like he's one of those guys that you'd probably look at and go, he doesn't look like he's 205, you know? He just looks too muscular to be 205, you know?
Yeah.
But he's just he packs it all in, so that's the way it is.
Right, yeah, I know who you're on about.
Yeah. Now, why in the middle of this very good match there was CM Punk chants going on? I have no clue, and it kind of undermines everything that the fans. Yeah, that doesn't sit well with me either. It undermines everything that fans have been begging for in this division for so long. The fans have been begging for this sort of wrestling, and when you get it, you've got a small section of fans going CM Punk, and it's like it, you know. No wonder management that sometimes think no matter what we do, we can't fucking, you know, we give them what they want and then they chant that shit. Let's be a little bit progressive, guys, and not, you know. You get so annoyed now when the CM Punk chants kick up now because it's just so stupid.
It's pointless.
And they always come up at the worst times. It's not like they never come up during a really boring match. It's always one that people want to see and the fans just go into business for themselves. That's really, disgusting. Good match anyway. Perkins wins with the knee bar, which is coming across like a fucking badass submission move. Like anytime he slaps it on, if it's not finishing a match, the guy is scrambling to get to those ropes. They know how devastating this could be, you know. So
what his knee bar?
Yes.
Yeah.
They've built up as a devastating submission hold, and I mean, it won him the CWC, won him the title match. So. You know, it's been doing good business for him recently. So we come to the end of this show. Jericho comes out for the highlight reel. Jericho, by the way, is just on form. There's no other way to go about it. Jericho is just really, really good. He's one of the saving graces of this show. I would struggle to think how Raw would be doing without Chris Jericho at the moment. Like that's how good he's being. He comes out. And his guest for the highlight reel is his best friend in the whole wide world, Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens comes out. He's not in a suit. And he's like, you know what? I didn't come out in a suit because we're in Cincinnati, Ohio. And Cincinnati is the place that birthed Dean Ambrose. And I'm not wearing a suit in the place that birthed Dean Ambrose. I'm not doing that. So I thought that was quite funny. They talk about how apparently there's a video clip of Ashton Kutcher and some guy I don't know saying, oh, we're much better friends than Owens and Jericho are, so they're coming to Raw next week, apparently. If this is how it's going, you can expect myself and Matt to be challenging Owens and Jericho for the Friendship Championship in the coming weeks. And we will win because our friendship is it'll be a friend squash, Matt. That will be a friend squash. That's what it will be.
That's very true.
Yes. Our man love is more than their man love, and we will show it to the world. That's the way it is. Although I'm guessing Jericho would be happy with this. He's adding everyone to his list of Jericho. So if you do anything bad, you make it onto his list. So the cameraman shot Jericho in a way that he didn't like. So he's like, well, you're going on the list, and starts writing around the cameraman on the list. He puts all the people in Cincinnati on the list.
Like all of a sudden, Jericho's Santa.
Yep, that's it. That's right. Seth Rollins is also on the list. Armbar is on the list. Oh, shit. No, that's the wrong list. That's a different list. My bad. So Owens says that he's the most dangerous man in WWE for taking out who is the most dangerous man in WWE, which is Seth Rollins, and brings up all the injuries that he's given people. But I guess still trying to put it in a positive sense on this. Although I'm sure that Rollins, I'm sure the whole injury concerns with him and stuff, I'm sure that's still hanging over his head, but there. Rollins comes down, he just gets warded off, so he comes down and literally, you know, Mick Foley comes down with an army of people, they ward him off and he doesn't come down. Just gets taken out to the back. However, Enzo and Cass come out instead, and they end up having a match against each other. The match is it's all right, but pretty underwhelming. And the Best Friends Brigade, as I'm going to call them, Jericho and Owens, pick up the win. I rushed through that ending because, to be honest, there isn't much really you need to say about it. To be honest, again, it's a very boring show this week, a very miserable show. That I said to myself, if it's going to be another show like this, then I need to take a break from this show. And one of the things I was doing over the course of this entire show, this episode this week of Raw, I was thinking to myself, what could I do? What would I do if I were in control of Raw to try and stop what's going on? Try and make that 3, because clearly getting rid of 3 hours is just not going to happen because of multiple reasons financially. What would I do? What would be a list of things that I could do that could be beneficial for the show short term and long term? To try and because I don't like coming out and ragging on the show every single week, Matt. You know I don't. You know I don't like doing it. So let's be a little bit productive and come up with some ways, in my opinion, that Raw can. And it wouldn't be even hard. It's not like, okay, go and hire this guy that will cost you loads of money. No, this is just small little philosophical changes in the show that could help the show overall. So that's what I'm doing next week. I'm taking a week off on Raw. I think I said to you once, Matt, I said, like, if this starts up and we're both having like a bad week, or if one of us having a bad week, one of us is allowed to have an out, to say, okay, I'm doing something else for that week just to have a break. I need it with Raw. So I'm going to work up on this list. So I'm not watching Raw next week. So in place of the Raw review, I'm going to be doing that list, and it's going to take as long as the usual Raw review. So it won't make any difference to you guys. If something huge happens, like someone returns or a title changes hands, I will only watch that match or that segment. I'm not doing the whole show because I need a break.
WWE will probably put it on YouTube.
Yeah. It's just the way it is. I think the reason being, Matt, is because when you get multiple Raws, I feel like the multiple Raws are burning me out. So even if they do a good Raw, it's not going to impact me as much. So taking a small break and doing a more article-based thing, I'll do that next week. And who knows? Maybe you guys will like it. Maybe you guys will want more article-based stuff, so we'll go from there. But yeah, in terms of my sanity, guys, I think I need to take a step back from Raw and let them have 3 hours of which I do not look at it. So, but that's just the way it is. But there we are. Who knows? I might even have time to catch NXT, and maybe I'll go back and watch Lucha Underground like our fans have been telling me to do, and maybe I'll have a bunch of fun with that. So that'll be good stuff.
Yeah, I was considering. I was like, I'm pretty sure I've only got like 2 hours left of Ultima Luchados to watch. I should probably do that.
Yeah. I mean, I think they're like on episode 5 of like the 3rd series by now. So,
catching up.
Yeah. And Luke Cage just came out on Netflix as well, so I got a lot of shit to watch because that shit is going to be fucking tight. Have you watched Jessica Jones on Netflix, man?
No, I don't have Netflix.
But why? I'm watching the entire Star Trek Voyager series with my wife, and that's on there as well. So we're going there. Yes, I watched. I haven't watched it in ages, but that's the reason why we're going back for.
That is
watching all over again.
Acceptable, and I approve of that.
In my opinion, the best Star Trek series is Voyager, but there we are. That's just because I used to watch it with my dad when I was young. There you go, a little bit of personal stuff for you at the end of the show. So let me, guys.
And we also have friends who would berate you if you chose any other.
Yeah, that as well. I don't think I'd be allowed back into any sort of tangible friendship if I were to say I'm watching this one instead. But nah.
Do you know what? I prefer Cisco.
Yeah, I'm watching
out.
You know what? I really like the Ferengi, but there you go. Trekkie stuff. There you go. You get that at the end of the podcast. All right, then, guys. My voice is fucking shredded. Maybe that's the fact that I haven't drunk any Pepsi today, and I just fucking guzzled an entire bottle. So that may be part of the issue there.
Could be a key.
But still, if you guys enjoy the show, then please leave a like. You can subscribe as well if you're new. You can become one of our almost 700 subscribers. If you'd like to interact with us, you can do so on our Facebook page, facebook.com/letstalkwrestlingpodcast. You can also send us a tweet to our Twitter handle.
@TalkWrestlePod.
you can. And you can send any private messages or audio questions to our email account, which is letstalkwrestlingpodcast@gmail.com. All of that is on the graphics and in the description below. And if you want to leave any questions, you can do so in the comment section below as well. Hope you guys have had a great week. A small little update just before we go off the air, if anyone is still hanging around. Episode 150 is coming up. And believe me, we know it's coming up. And myself and Matt will be talking about a few different plans that we have for 150 and going forward like that. Because by now, Matt, people expect that whenever a 25th episode comes, especially a 50th episode comes around, we do like to change some shit around and try and breathe a little bit of freshness into the show and do some new things. So we'll have to talk about what we do. We still got a while, but we'll talk into it. But let us know what you think. If you guys have got any ideas for episode 150 or anything along those lines, let us know. We'll always take it on board. Apart from that, anything else that you want to cover, Matt? Anything else at all? You want to get the hell out of here?
Nothing else to say.
Get out of here, Matt. All right then, guys. Hope you have a great week. We'll catch you next time, and we'll see you then.
See you around.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.